Good evening, everybody. Mike Geary here for Geek Pride's Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign, The Legend of Our Sacrifice. With me tonight, we have a cozy group, as we got some people here on and off. I'm glad that Conrad's back, because I thought his computer had died. I was like, there we go. That's the way it is. So, I'm going to make sure I've got my audio right here. So, with me tonight, we have Conrad as Arno Jerkel.
Howdy.
We don't have Tharaval, we don't have Val, we have Lecky as Bartholomew Pungle.
Hey.
And we have Mark as Luntz.
And definitely no Danny.
And definitely no Danny, unfortunately. Yep. After the last session, we needed a break after a very emotional last sesh. So yeah, we will have some newbies starting soon, potentially next week. In fact, so we'll have two new faces to rock up with us next week. But yeah, so for everybody who wasn't paying attention, unfortunately, our long what's the word? What am I looking for? Yeah, long-standing. Yeah, there you go. There she is. Emosh, guys. Danny, our cleric, our faithful cleric, unfortunately, bit the dust last session, in a heroic way, and is no longer with us, as she is moving off to Australia with her fam. So unfortunately can't do D&D things unless it's 3 o'clock in the morning. So she had an epic death, and that's where we sort of ended it last session.
To keep her alive, and she goes and tanks it anyway.
Yeah, the option was there if she wanted to, but she wanted the epic death, so she got the epic death. That being said, in this world, you never know. There's always an open door for angelic beings to come back and fight the evil at the end. So who knows? We may have a big session with some old faces. Okay, so there's not a lot to talk about. Basically, Galandra's dead. She has released Kivy from her captivity within the Whispering Veil. She has sort of come out of her stasis, as it were, and is completely just shell-shocked by the whole thing. We've said that Arno has seen somebody who she's always been a very confident, sort of kind of imposing being, and she looks extremely vulnerable because she doesn't know what to do. So we then have what else have we got? Yes, so you killed I've forgotten his bloody name now. The Veil of Whispers guy, what's he called? Blah, 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 blah. Can't remember, top of my head. Anyway, he's dead.
Just call him the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Yeah, the Archbishop. He's dead. So he's dead, and he's dead, and the cult of the Whispering Veil, or I fucking can't. I can't do language today. I can't do English. The Veil Walkers have obviously dispersed. You are left in what was formerly a Dreamwalker's chamber with Galandra at your feet. The doors are still locked, and Kivy is sort of sat beside Galandra with her hand on her head, weeping.
So those constructs and stuff disappeared.
Well, so the constructs that were around you have basically just collapsed to the ground. So I've taken them off. They're around. They're here.
They collapsed, and those things that were summoned from the pillars and stuff, they dissipated.
They've gone. Yeah, they've all gone.
They summoned when you killed the people that summoned them.
Yes. So I've done that. Let me do this. Yeah. So that's what we have. I will put on the some music, and then we can sort of go from there. Let me stick on this one. Okay, so so Kivi's just sort of kneeling beside Galandra. She's got her hand on her head. She is now outwardly weeping, and as are as are the rest of the party. Valashul and Tharaval, who are generally emotionally quite sort of stoic, are being a lot. Seem to be quite affected by this second death in quite an early succession. Obviously, Draken being killed not long ago in the grand scheme of things as well. So I'll leave it up to you. You can have a chat. You can talk to each other, talk to Kivi, say what you need to say, and we can go from there.
Kivi, bring her back.
She looks.
Kivi!
She looks up at you. Her tears sort of tears coming down her cheek, and she just sort of shakes her head and then looks back down again.
Bring her back.
I can't. I can't.
Why?
I don't know what you want. I don't know what you want from me. She's like completely lost for words. She just
How could you let this happen? How could what? We came here to save you. She saved you. How is this even possible that you are... I thought you were all powerful and all these gifts you bestowed upon me, and yet you were captured. We saved you, and now you can't save her.
She like what was sort of mild sobbing turns into actual proper crying, and she says, I am a jealous fool and a power hungry bitch. I have done everything for myself, and this warrior has sacrificed herself for me. I don't deserve this, and you don't. I don't deserve you. As she looks up to you, I can only say I'm sorry. I'm sorry, and she carries on crying.
I think, tempting as it is to look for a shortcut, we may have to accept that, for the moment at least, Galandra is beyond our ability to help. And as such, the only thing we can do right now is to pay our respects and to lay her to rest along with our other comrades.
Valashul and Tharaval sort of agree. We must take her home. She will be with Salden.
And how the fuck do we get out of here?
Tharaval sort of takes himself off to sort of look around to look around the sort of kind of area to see if he can find a way out. Valshul sort of kind of takes himself off as well to sort of see what he can see.
Kivi, we were brought here through a portal. I heard your voice just after seeing you, talking with you and the great Bahamut. I thought I was brought here at his will, at your will. What happened? It was in the space of a minute when I last spoke to you and him. How did you end up here? Can you get us out? Get a hold of yourself. You are our savior. You are my savior. And now...
She says, I was greedy. But, you know, that old fool knew who I was from the start. He warned you to be careful. And he was right. But I will do anything to make up for this wrong. I will prove to you that I am better than this.
Well, it's a bit fucking late.
She sort of kind of reaches her hand out to sort of, you know, towards you. Sort of.
I turn my back on her for the first time ever.
I step across and take him by the shoulders and say, look at me. This is a time which is tempting to be full of anger. It's easy to be full of hurt. You need to be better than that, or you will walk a darker path than you would like.
Lance, I am cursed. Anyone in my life who I have ever grown close to, this happens to. My mother, my brother, Draken, Thomas, Galandra. You should get away while you can.
I grab him and I shake him. And I say to him, you don't understand what you're talking about. I sat broken, bricked up in a chamber for hundreds of years because I could not save the person I was built to protect. You may think you're cursed. I know I'm goddamn cursed. God's damned cursed. And so I could give up. But I don't. I keep trying.
This is why I've stayed alone for so long.
Trying, then people will be hurt because of me not trying. I have saved so many more than I have lost. And those that I have lost, I carry forward with me. I just tap the axe that's hosted over my shoulders. What we do as adventurers is dangerous. We could take a nice, safe job, working in a tavern, seeing the same fields and the same faces every day, and hoping that we won't wake up one day to find the tavern on fire, and our friends staked to walls, and our families trodden into the mud. But we don't. We are out here, and we are stopping those people that would do that.
This is why I have no friends, no family, no hurt.
It's giving me chills. Whoa.
And you see Arno, like a solitary tear drops from his eye down his cheek. He doesn't blink. It's just one tear, and you know from him so far, it's not someone that shows that really much emotion in that way.
So I pick him up, I turn to one side, and I put him down so he's facing Kivy. And I give him a shove towards her, and I say, "Stop hurting yourself to prove to yourself that you're right when you're wrong. Or by God, I will kick you in the ass so hard that it will take me 2 days to chip you loose from the ceiling."
You can. Well, that depends. It's up to you how you want to sort of take this. If you want to roll, I don't know if it's intimidation or persuasion. I don't know what you.
No, I don't think we need
Yeah.
any rolls here. He'll Arno's listening. He stays quiet and he just looks at Kivy.
She says, well, actually, before she says anything, Bartholomew, have you got anything you want to sort of say or do?
He's
He's
keeping
just eating popcorn.
a respectable
say,
distance,
he's
just
taking
doing his
towel.
awkward shuffle. Yeah, it was maybe
Bunch
open
of
his mouth,
food.
and then Lance got stuck in, and he's like, "Ooh."
And I
Just
turn
checking
to
the
Kivy.
doors out, just seeing if spell magic
this is
might
locked.
work.
Oh, this is a nice bit of wood over here.
Totally.
Before Arno can say anything or Kivy can say anything, I turn to Kivy and say, "And as for you, yes, you're not used to being beaten around and trapped, and you're scared. And yes, my friend is dead, but she made a decision that led her down that path. You did not. You don't bear responsibility as you think you do, but you do have a responsibility now, both of you, to carry on what she would have done if she was still here. And I don't mean drinking and passing out. I may occasionally mean beating people up in taverns because they're frustrating you, but mostly doing good things."
As you're sort of kind of talking, you hear sort of a large sort of kind of crash as Tharaval sort of breaks some sort of pottery that's sort of in the corner of the room, and kicks the door in frustration. He then sort of kind of slides down the wall and sort of puts his hands in his head, or his head in his hand, sorry.
I point to Kivy and Arno and say, "Behave. Don't go anywhere. Talk to each other. Don't make me come over here and smack your heads together." And I go storming over to where Tharaval is to check on him.
Is there anything you want to say to Kivy, Arno?
I'll just continue sort of looking at her, and I look back at Lance walking over to Tharaval, and back at Kivy, and say,
Yep. So
whatever this means
roll
for
me
us.
roll me a perception check.
Mm-hmm. No. 7.
No. Okay.
So, and then he will basically say, whatever this means for us, you must find us a way back out of here. You are the only one who has that power. We don't even know where we are. You need to get us back. And he kind of reaches out with his hand to put it on her shoulder, And he just holds it over for quite a few seconds, and he momentarily like pulls back with it, kind of a, clenches his fist, and then he sighs and closes his eyes and reaches out his hand again and places it on her.
As you do that, she she sort of leans her head into it and sort of says, I daren't use my power in this place. It consumed me. I can't do this to you as I've done this to her. I daren't not use my power here. I don't know if I can get us out of here.
Well, then we will live our lives here. You are the only one that can get us out. You owe it to us. You owe it to Galandra. You must try. I believe in you and the words that you have shared. Whatever being you felt you were before, there is a change, and I am willing to trust you, as I always have done.
Well, you should. She gets sort of slightly annoyed. She says, well, you shouldn't have. It was self-interest. I used you, Yarno. I used everybody. I use everybody. I'm not a bad person, but I'm a selfish person.
Aren't we all fucking selfish? I left everything behind for you. It may have been blind faith, but I was ignorant to everything else. You gave me an out, a way to feel not alone. You are the only thing I had until these short weeks ago, when I met these friends.
She roll me another perception check.
11.
God damn it! Bartholomew, roll me a perception check.
Yeah, he's Arno's distracted.
The last person want to roll in perception. There we go.
Okay. As sort of you're, looking, being awkward and trying to sort of kind of stay out of things and not sure what to do with yourself, you sort of kick over what you think is just a stone. It sort of it sort of turns over, and it's like a bowl. The bowl is quite ornate in the middle, and it has a lot of sort of writing, runic writing around it, and it has an ethereal sort of kind of light emitting from it.
Ooh, looks fancy. It's not the same sort of light as what was coming off the Galandra.
Yes, it is.
Killing bowl.
It is.
Is it?
Yes.
So I jump back a little bit.
Opposed to the Galandra, bro.
It's one half. It's one of the cups.
You took poorly.
It's a part of the Galandra, bro.
Could I? Yeah. What? Could I investigate it for its magical properties? Try and work out what these runes mean.
Are you looking at it? Are you touching it, or what are you sort of kind of doing?
I'm gonna look at it, and if I touch it, I'm gonna be using like my foot with my booted foot or whatever. Just be very delicate, but not touch it with my bare skin. Try and, roll it over and.
Okay, roll me a roll me an Arcana then, I guess.
Yeah. 28.
So You roll me a history check as well, actually.
Cool.
Yeah, okay.
I'm out of this level slots, but I could expend a second level and do comprehend languages to try and read the runes.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll give it to you. This is this vessel is what they call the Veil of Whispers. It is the ancient artifact that was stolen by a guy whose name I completely forgotten, which is really bad on me. Bertha, I'm gonna have to check it here. Well, it's just going to annoy me otherwise. It is Whispering Veil. Where are we? By Malachar, that's it. Malachar, just got it. Yeah. So Malachar. So it was it was stolen by Malachar from the Dreamwalkers, and
Is this where the police storm in and have a go at him for holding stolen property?
and it's a powerful object. From what you understand of it, it has some very potent sort of powers to whoever wields it, but with these powers can come it because of its sort of its connection with the sort of kind of the realm of dreams and then potential nightmares. It can corrupt for those who aren't prepared to use it over time, and that's potentially what you think's happened to you think's happened to Kivy. She was sort of, I think she mentioned, if I remember, she mentioned sort of something about the power. I think I mentioned, I can't remember which session it was. Something about a powerful object. But yeah, so she's obviously taken or being seduced into this, being taken within it, and was getting used as effectively like a power source for it. Its place isn't here. Its place is with the Dreamwalkers. I'll give you it's a quick view on what it does. It's a legendary artifact with the power to bridge the gap between the dream world and reality. Crafted by ancient dreamwalkers to aid humanity, it appears as a delicate and translucent shrouded bowl adorned with intricate patterned stars, which sort of gleam with moonlight. It gives you Dreamwalker's insight. While attuned to the Veil of Whispers, you gain proficiency in insight skill, representing your enhanced connection to the dreams and hidden truths. Dreamer's Protection. As a reaction, you can expend one charge to cast a shield spell without using a spell slot. This number of charges replenishes at dawn to a maximum of 3. Dreamscape Glimpse. Once per long rest, you can use an action to activate the veil. When you do, you gain the ability to see into the dreams of creatures within 60 feet. The effect lasts for about a minute until the end of the bonus action. While active, you get advantage on wisdom throws, wisdom/insight rolls. You are also communicating. You can communicate telepathically with that creature. Ethereal Phase. As a bonus action, you can activate the veil to enter an ethereal state for a minute. During this time, you can move through solid objects and creatures have disadvantage in attacks against you. You cannot take any actions, attack, or interact with objects while this is state. Once you use the ability, you can't use it again until you've had a long rest. And finally, Dreamscape Guardian. When you fall asleep while attuned to the Veil of Whispers, you can choose to send your consciousness into the dreamscape to protect you and your allies in the state you are within 30 feet. Lasts for 8 hours, and you get the Sentinel feat effectively for having it. That being said, it's because it has been tainted by the veil, the Whispering Veil. It will you could see it potentially corrupting its user with prolonged use. So it's something you could use, but it may or may not have a drawback later on down the line, depending on. So it's up to you if you. Actually, no. Well, there's that's another option failure, but yeah, that's sort of kind of what you know from it. You know of it, what you glean from it, from your sort of kind of intuition and from your understanding.
Cool, nice. Yeah, so I'll go to pick it up, just like examine it a little closer, and then
Does Kivy notice him doing this?
Kivy sort of, as you're about to pick it up, she says, "Leave it alone. Don't touch it."
oh, but it could be useful in getting home, maybe, or provide some clues.
She says, it is tainted by the veil, and it must be. We need to return it to once it came to be cleansed. If you use that relic, you could be me, and this, and more of your friends could lie before you.
In that case, consider me just a humble servant. I'll make sure it goes to where it needs to.
So she says to you, power. I know well how much power, the lust for power and for knowledge and for respect based on one's abilities. This object was a double-edged sword for me. It created a situation where I was trapped within its presence, and I thought I was going to end my days within its prison. But this warrior freed me, and because of it, in a slightly tragic way, has given me a second chance, one which I will not waste. If you choose to use that bowl, you must be careful. I am not going to stop you because I will no longer be a hypocrite. But just know that until it is cleansed, it is dangerous, and you may put more heroes like this to the sword.
Well, all the more reason not to leave it lying around for the next cult fanatic, eh? No, it'll be much safer us getting it where it needs to be cleansed, yes.
Okay. So yeah, you can pick it up. It gleams, and it doesn't, nothing, you're not attuned to it or anything yet, so it sort of you just pick it up and, I don't know, stick it in your backpack or whatever.
Wrap it up in a blanket and into the backpack it goes.
Yeah. Okay.
Anna will say, shouldn't we destroy it?
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
And how do you propose we go about that? Galandra touched it, she's dead. Kivy was imprisoned in it. Do you care to come forth and have a crack? I look forward to scraping you off the walls.
Anna says, you and I hold enough magic power within us to at least try. And he looks at Kiwi to see if she's gonna say this is gonna be a kind of a Gimli in the ring deal,
she,
or not.
she says, I don't know if you can destroy it. I don't know if it should be destroyed. In the end, at one point, it was a beacon that helped people. The Dreamwalkers used it for good, and if we destroy it, we take that away from this land.
And where is it? It must be cleansed.
She says, I haven't thought about where the Dreamwalkers are yet. She
Well, does she know?
yes, we'll say she doesn't know. Well, we'll just
Didn't
have
we
to...
meet some like 2 sessions ago, or was that someone else?
No, you've met Veil Walkers, who were like the offshoot of the Walkers. Dreamwalkers, Valashul and Tharavol's love interest, Augury, was a Dreamwalker. He does have her diary, which he says he'll look through and see if he can find any more information on where it needs to go.
Arno will look over at Kiwi and just narrow his eyes. He says, "If you were so drawn to its power, why did you not look to cleanse it first before using it?"
Because I am selfish. Because I wanted its power and I thought I could control it on my own. But its taint sucked me in and imprisoned me, used me as a glorified fuel for its darkness. Malakar created something within it that I feel still wisps around it. That's why it needs to be cleansed. If we destroy that thing, if it can be destroyed, then who's to say it does not get released and we create a worse folly upon this land than we already have?
Sorry about that.
If you're speaking sense, Arno, you can't just rush around from one passion to the next, hoping to stumble across the answer. Sometimes you just have to stash it in your bag, think about it for a little while, find someone that knows more. We know it's a Dreamwalker object. There'll be a library somewhere. We'll find some out about it. Don't you worry.
She stands up and she says to you, place the bowl down on under the statue, and she says to you, Bart, and to you, all to surround her and ready your weapons. I will try and get us out of here, but should you see anything untoward happening, you must destroy me.
I walk over and limber the axe.
So she says, I fear that it will take me again and you will not survive this. So I will for you, my love, try and get us out of here. But should you see anything happen, you must not hesitate and you must destroy me.
Sounds pretty deep. Barty will take the bowl back out of his backpack then and unwrap it quite carefully, and then use Mage Hand to just very gently move it across the room and place it down under the statue, and he whips out one of his wands, pulls his cloak up.
Okay. So she so obviously like Tharaval sort of comes back after having a chat with Lance, and Val comes back, and they surround her. She sort of starts to hover, and she says, she sort of kind of mumbles something to the old man, and starts to hover above this sort of kind of quite angelic looking form in front of you. Her eyes sort of glow yellow, and you see in front of the bowl a sort of spark happening, and it gets slightly bigger. She starts to sort of jolt slightly, and the bowl starts to sort of glimmer. It seems like at one point it's a sort of kind of radiant light that then gets consumed by darkness, and then sort of as if it's fighting itself within itself. As you can see her sort of kind of struggling as her powers go, and as she does, a portal sort of appears in front of where the bowl is. She says, "This will take you home. Take the bowl. Get it cleansed. Quick! I can't. Quick! You must go."
Who's grabbing Galandra?
And what will become of you?
I will follow after.
I gather Galandra up in my arms and step forward.
Barty grabs the bowl. Come on, Arno. It's his time.
She said, "Go! I can't hold it for long."
You go. I will stay and ensure that she passes through as well.
I know.
Go!
Time to go. You can't stay here forever.
No, but I can stay longer than all of you. You heard her go. I will follow straight after. She needs me.
Barty will just give you a half smile and a nod, and turn around and walk through the portal.
Okay. Tharaval walks over, pats you on the shoulder, and walks through as well. Val just walks through.
Arno's left alone with Kivi, and he says, "Do not leave me." And he walks backwards. Just so he stood like right next to the portal. Said, "You gave me your word. Now come!" And he backs into the portal.
Okay. So you right, so let's move over to where are we?
Oh yeah, where are we going to end up? Back in the courtroom.
I was actually going to do that. I was going to go, "You were gone for a few seconds," but I think I'm going to do it this way instead. Sort of, it'll move things on slightly instead of doing the whole, "You haven't been gone 5 seconds." Where the right. I have to do this, like, move this bookmark thing and it's
Oh,
juddering.
I know.
Oh,
And
yeah,
when you've got so many pages.
Yeah,
you
it's
can
juddering.
never
It's
find
juddering
one.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you go through the portal, and you sort of end up in front of what is the courthouse in Taunt. People are milling around doing their own business. It seems like a normal day in the city that you have so well. As you sort of kind of exit out, the portal starts to shudder and close. You look back and you see through it as you see sort of Kivy smiling at you. It then closes over.
Arno just goes, no. And he tries to leap back into the portal as it disappears.
You hear a voice. You hear a honeyed voice, but not seductive as it once was. One of care and love, saying, "Fear not, I am here, my love. I made it."
He just lets out this giant sigh and stands looking at what are these people on the street doing around us.
Yeah. So you come through, you hear a familiar voice going, "Look at me! Look at me! I'm one of the Queen's Guard now. Empress's Guard. You missed the coronation." As Gregor sort of kind of gleefully runs over with his new sort of kind of ensemble and stuff, and he says, where have you been? You disappeared. I didn't know where you'd gone."
Arno steps forward and he just goes, "Gregor, stop, please."
What do you mean?
And I step forward.
Why is Lady? No.
Gregor.
No.
Stop. Gregor. This is going to be difficult. But she went as she wanted to go.
No. He sort of pushes you aside as best he can, in a sort of not feeble ways. He's slightly stronger than he once was as his sort of younger self, but he sort of pushes past you and drops to his knees beside her body. He's like, "Why? What happened to you, my lady?" He says, "What have you done? Why, what?" He just can't, no.
I just lay my hand on his shoulder.
He says, he's like, "What? First Sir Solden, then Dragon, now her? I swore to protect her. And now she's dead."
We lead a dangerous life by choice. And Sometimes we have to accept.
This is your fault! As he sort of kind of stands up and draws his sword on Arno. He says, you come into this group, and now we have lost 3 members in the space of as many weeks. This must be down to you. What witchcraft is this?
I step forward between them, and I reach out and I pull Graham's sword from his hands. Stop this. You're supposed to be better than this.
I can't even protect my masters. All of them are gone.
You need to learn to be careful what promises you make. Some things are not within our purview to promise. It is hard to understand when you are young, but we all have a time, and it comes to us. And all that we can do is to make sure that when that time comes, and when we are taken, we are doing something that we believe in, and it is something we believe it is worthwhile. And Galandra believed that what we were doing and what she did was worthwhile. Do not sully her memory.
He cries. He sort of falls to his knees in front of you and sort of looks up and says, I have done nothing for this party. I am so pointless.
You're young. You are here to learn and to grow. And you are doing that.
He goes over to Galandra and he sort of he puts himself on his knees again and he says, you were just my liege. You were my mentor. You were my friend. Sir Salden would have been proud of you. Just as I was to honour you as a squire. Your sacrifice gnaws at my soul. But I can't let your light fade into shadows. He says, I will avenge your death, and I will make sure your light shines again, my lady. And he puts his hand on Huthway's bane. Anybody else want to say anything? Do anything?
At risk of spoiling the moment, Barty will approach him and just like sort of crouch down and put his hand on his shoulder and just say, listen now, there's no blame from anybody. Galandra touched a magic bowl and she died. Now, I understand you serve a new mistress now. You go serve her well. But Galandra did what Galandra would want to do. You played no part in this. Arno played no part in this.
He sniffs and he says we must take her to
We will take her to the Empress.
Oh, actually, it wasn't the courthouse you were. I've completely. You were in the Temple of Marduk. So you should technically. You're not in Taunt. You're outside of Taunt. You're at the Temple of Marduk. Sorry, my apologies. That's where you should be. Not.
Magic's weird stuff. What can I say?
Yeah. You're at the Temple of. We need to bring her. Well, yeah. So we'll say you gone to Taunt. And then you've. He says we must inter her beside Solden in the Temple of Marduk. She would have wanted that.
We will discuss that with the Empress, and we will make the appropriate arrangements.
He stands up and says, I will guard her body until you can get an honor guard to bring her to the temple.
I look at him, I look about at the rest of us, and I say, we do not need to wait. We are her honor guard. As we were with her in life, we will be with her in death until she is laid to rest.
Okay, so I'll sort of. There's no point in sort of kind of lingering on with another long sort of.
Is that just before you move on? The final sort of a moment where Arno will. When we'll be faced with just like leaving the body somewhere, he will try in a sort of a sleight of hand way. Was she wearing any kind of pendant or anything like that? It doesn't have to be magical or anything.
She had a necklace for Lady Taunt, didn't she?
Yeah, she had a necklace. You can. So
Arno will try and take this from her corpse without anyone noticing.
Grave robbery, brilliant.
It's his purpose is not to rob the body. It's to to keep as a memento, a keepsake, because no matter what Lance has said, he feels completely responsible for her death, as it was Kivi she was saving, who is essentially part of him. But he won't let on to anyone on this. So
I was really worried it was going to be something creepy, but that sounds...
No.
Yeah, okay, so you sort of get the body, and people sort of notice and start to sort of... Some of them obviously know you're known quite well in Taunt by now, and you can hear sort of sobbing as people start lining the streets. You start making your way through the streets, out of the gates. Lady Taunt catches up with you, or sort of Empress Taunt catches up with you with her honor guard, sort of halfway to the temple, and Morris said she weeps. She kisses her forehead. She screams out to Bahamut for another friend killed in his name. And then you leave her into the chamber where Solden's body was left. The monks prepare her body, and they ask, with the sword, do you want Huthway's being to be left with her, or would you wish to take this with you?
I step forward and say that it is my burden to carry an element of my friends forward to finish what it is that we started in their name.
As you wish, my lord.
Now,
And he sort of hands you Huthway's Bane. Lady Taunt says, this blade will always connect the party with the Balinese and with me. It was a gift to Solden, it is a gift to Galandra, it is now a gift to you.
it's a gift that I only carry for a short time, because it is a gift that I carry until we can discharge our mission and return the Balinese and the rest of the world to a condition of peace.
Okay, and so they embalm the body, and they lower it into the sarcophagus beside Solden. It closes over, and the lights in the room dims. Gregor sort of refuses to leave and stays by the sarcophagus for or the tomb, effectively, I guess, by, for hours, refusing to sort of kind of leave her side. He then sort of, obviously, one of you will go over and tell him that he needs to go and it'll be fine. And you leave.
I walk over and I say to him, you need to rest, you need to look after yourself. You achieve nothing if in her name you do harm to yourself. Now let us get you to eat, somewhere to rest, and you can resume your training and your duties to protect that which she held dear in her name.
He nods his head and sort of in a sort of slouch until he sort of notices Empress Taunt standing outside, and he sort of straightens up a bit, wipes a tear away, gives a salute, and goes outside. The Empress sort of turns to you and says, what is it you are to do now? What is it you need from me?
For the moment, I think we need to take a pause. This has not just Galandra, but other things that occurred there have taken a small impact upon us. But we need to return an artifact to a safe place where it can no longer do damage to others, and then we can resume our quest as we search for she who I would rather not name, in order to put an end to the danger to this world.
Tharval says, are we not going to take Draken's body back from Gredscale?
That is part of that mission. Because from Red Scale, we can find out where to find her, and we can remove one of her stronger pawns from the table.
Okay. He sort of doesn't say anything, and he walks out of the temple and sort of takes himself off into sort of nearby orchard, and sort of sits under a tree. Saravel, who's turned up, hearing about it, sort of goes over to sort of see how he is. Right. So you've got two options now. You've got a quests thing here, so you can either go for carry on to try and find the body of Draken, take it back and give it a proper burial, or you can sort of take yourselves off to deal with the cleansing of the Veil of Whispers.
If the Empress is still around, then Barty could try and get permission to access her archives and libraries. Let's try and work more about the Dreamwalkers and where this thing needs to go for cleansing.
Okay.
But I'm happy to take on that Rescale as well.
I think we need to rest and recharge, and we need to consider the danger involved in carrying the veil with us versus the need to recover our friend.
Is this the same day we're on, by the way?
Yeah,
or
I'd
did
say
we travel to Taunt, or have we long rested?
Well, it's about 5 miles outside. It's about 5 miles outside of Taunt. So, yeah, you would have, you've been there for a few hours, and you would have had a rest. Well, as much rest as you could have in the situation. So it would be, I don't know, let's say sort of early evening now.
Bowls is safe with us as it is with anybody else, in my
So
mind.
are we safe with the pole?
Well, that's another question.
We understand that from what we've known, the bowl, the veil, it is not just an object. It has some elements of life, and it has its own wants and needs, and it is very powerful and very subtle.
This is powerful, yeah, but Kivy was the victim of a conspiracy. There was a cult actively trying to trap her. That doesn't say the bowl's sentient.
But it doesn't say it is not. And she seemed to think that it was as much an architect of her downfall as they were. And in case you haven't noticed, I'm trying to get out of the habit of burying my friends.
Well, true, but I think you're confusing the trap for the hunter.
Ah,
We
no,
should be
well,
mindful of who it may attract, but I think the bowl itself, as long as we're not using it, it shouldn't be much of an issue.
I know that we'll look at Barty and just say, we all have our vices. I am aware of mine. Perhaps you should take more heed of your own. And he sort of nods knowingly at Barty.
You need to rest, my friend. All I'm proposing is looking at a few books and learning more about this and what we can do about it. I'm not saying stash it away or use it for our own devices. We just need to know more.
Research is one thing, but if we are spending too long, then as a group we will need to consider cutting short and making a decision to move forward. Barty.
Well, that would be your downfall. We'd be wandering along as ignorant as when we started.
I'm not
Give
saying
me
we
one
shouldn't
day.
Research. I'm just saying that we shouldn't make it an open-ended research. And I just want to find a balance. Okay? So we will reconvene in a day or so, and we will see where we stand.
Excellent. We're having a chord.
Right. Birth woman, I need to go into. So, it's quite late, so you probably stay the night in and around the Temple of Marduk. And then I guess the next day we'll make your way back to Taunt, unless you want to make your way back straight away. It's up to you.
Makes no difference, I guess.
I think if the libraries that party will want to look at are in Tont. So
Sooner to taunt, sooner to research, sooner we're back on the road.
Okay.
I think
So,
that would be best for us to try and move forward to minimize the delay.
so let's go straight to Taunt then, or would we? Or are you suggesting we stay the night here and then go onwards in the morning?
I think we should move forwards and then rest once we get there.
Okay. It's only 5 miles, isn't it? You said.
Yeah, it's about 5 miles.
All right, so head to Taunt then, and find an inn.
Okay, so you sort of say your last goodbyes to Galandra, and Lady Taunt, Empress Taunt, makes sort of is going to stay at the temple and pray with some of her men. You inform her that you're going to make your way to the city, and you're going to make your way to the city and try and research what to do next. She sort of bids you. Sorry.
No, I was just going to ask Barty before you turn in. Will you have essentially taken out the bowl and be taking notes of the runes and stuff, like yourself in a notebook or anything like that, or?
No, I need some rest, and then in the morning I'll know exactly what they say, what they lean towards, and where they'll be pointing us. But first, short sleep.
Okay, so you make your way to the city, and you notice flowers and things that seem to have been strewn on either side of the road, and sort of candles have been lit as a sort of like a vigil, nearly the whole road on the way back. You go into the tavern that you've stayed in many times before, and the innkeeper brings you some food, brings you some ale, and offers you a free room for the night. You all sit there. You say you say very little to each other. You drink. When you drink, you eat a little, and then you retire to your rooms. Okay. Barty.
Yes. I
Sorry.
was just going to say, before sleep, can I cast Comprehend Languages as a ritual? So, takes about 10 minutes.
You can
and
indeed.
then, if the runes are a language, I should be able to understand them.
You can. Okay, so it's birth 1 minute.
It won't code any cryptography, like secret messages or anything like that. But if it's written in plain text in whatever language, then
well, it is a cipher in a certain way, so it's not something that you're going to be able to comprehend as a language. Cool. It's okay, so you take yourselves to bed, and you all have pretty restless night's sleep. More so for you, Barty. You have you find yourself in. Actually, let me just change this. Let me just change this. Breath one up. Actually, no, that's what we want. Is it this? Is anything playing?
Like a train station.
Yeah, I can't hear anything, which is annoying.
It was a bustling sort of like
Bert,
marble hall.
let me restart this here, and then we'll get back to that. Okay, so while I'm doing that, let's come out of that. You get a you have a dream of a large room filled with all the books that you could ever dream of. You see magical items in nice cases, golden cases surrounding you. You see everything that your brain or your mind could ever sort of desire, just there in this one large room. You hear a voice sort of whispering in your ear that it could all be yours. Every bit of this, every single item, all of the knowledge, all of these things can be yours. And you sort of find yourself wandering around this room, looking at these different items. You then sort of exit into a grand sort of kind of a grand hallway, and you come out onto sort of a balcony. You're like on this large sort of tower, sort of overseeing an unfamiliar looking sort of city. He says, all of this could be yours. All of it. You sort of get a glimpse of actually roll me a perception check.
Mm-hmm.
You get a glimpse of like the what in front of you sort of kind of flicks from this sort of quite grand looking city covered in light to a land, a city in ruin, strewn with gore and blood, very reminiscent of the vision you had when you first got to the village that the Veil Walkers inhabited. It's a very brief sort of glimpse, and then it goes back to where it is. He says, all of this could be yours. The next day, you sort of, you wake up. It's an odd dream. You sort of feel sort of excited, like you've had a dream that it's like something all these things, you're like, this is, I want knowledge, I want these items, I want this stuff that sort of, this wizardly sort of these things, and it's being offered to you, and you've got this feeling in you that it's like, yeah, I want these things, and the bowl, that sort of, I'm not sure where you would have put it. It would be on the table, I'm assuming, when you sort of try to, is slightly glowing, but again, it looks like you get this sort of light that then sort of turns to darkness, but then flicks onto light again. Other than that, there's, you don't have any urges to touch it or anything like that. You just have this feeling that it's like, oh, that was, as much, despite the sort of slightly odd flicker within that dream, it was quite a nice dream. You felt like that was something you would like to sort of achieve at some point in time, and yeah, it's something you're thinking on.
Yeah, the overwhelming sense of disappointment that the lollipop that you dreamt about is not in your hand.
Yes, very much like that. Yes, yeah.
Where was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so yeah, that you all wake up, you make your way back down into the main sort of kind of inn proper. Tharaval has disappeared, but you're used to his sort of disappearances, and you sort
will
of.
I have seen him? Will he have come into the inn and gone to his room the night before?
He would have just stayed up with he probably would have just stayed up because he doesn't really need to sleep very much. He would have probably just stayed up with Siravel and sort of had a few drinks in the corner and sort of kept themselves to themselves. Okay. Right.
What about Val? Is Val there?
Yeah, Val will be there. He sort of the whole Galandra thing is, you can tell it's affecting him. They had why the hell is this not working? Sorry.
A love-hate relationship.
Yeah, it was, they had a strained relationship, but one of mutual respect. They've been through a lot. They've been through a lot together, and I think he was finding it quite hard to reconcile that there's another, he came on with the death of her first friend, another paladin, and now she's gone, and he's showing a brave face and being as sort of, what's the word, being as straight, I guess, as straight talking as he would usually be, but you can tell there's he's hurting, or there's he's not sort of in a great place himself, but he just it is about his Lord Bahamut's business, and he said to you, in war people die, and she knew she would have died. She knew she could have died, and that's just the way it is. As much as you probably don't believe what he said, he's just sort of, that's just the way he's acting.
Okay.
Okay, so you're in the inn. You are, I guess we can do a picture of an inn. And I have to drag it down to this thing without it stuttering everywhere or zooming past it. Okay, it's just done. Okay, and then we'll go something slightly back to normal. So you're back in the tavern. You're eating some breakfast, and yeah, you can all decide what you're going to do next. Have a chat about your night's sleep or whatever.
Yeah, so like Barty will like come down to the table and start like eating a bit like bread and ale or whatever, and then like look at sort of like Lance and Arno. It's like I must admit I might have been a bit hasty in my my summarization of that bowl. It's I think it was reaching out to me in my dreams.
I noticed the sort of the rock eyebrow.
Yeah, it's very pleasant. Lots of nice trinkets. Lived in a very fine tower, but there was something not quite right about it, I think. Over time, it may have an influence, which could grow. Maybe we should take turns in being its guardian, so to speak. So it's not to be corrupted. What do you reckon?
I quite literally roll my eyes. You can hear them grating. As I said previously, we need to balance out our needs in this situation. And one of those needs is managing and not being exploited by that artifact. Personally, I'd much rather you A, do not go the way of Gibbons. B, I don't have to drag the thing out into the middle of the field somewhere and risk being blown to smithereens when I beat the crap out of it until it dies. Or C, it gets us all killed. Those three are all things I would much rather we didn't do, and I definitely don't like option number 2.
Yeah, you see, the first time you said that, it just sounded like you don't want me reading about it. But now it makes more sense. I'm inclined to agree.
Ah, no, wait. I'm sorry. Go on.
I recall the tale of a scholar who found a book and recognized it as a dangerous and rare tome and decided that he would take it home to his family and prove to people he was a great scholar by translating it. That bright and not entirely filled with common sense gentleman made one very big mistake. He sat and read and translated that book out loud and then wondered why he ended up with a couple of hundred small problems, most of them with sharp teeth, horns, and a fondness for eating the living. Be very careful when you meddle with the forces that we don't understand. There's a difference between understanding them and them learning to understand you a bit too well, Barty.
Yeah, well, dangerous occupations, aren't they? We didn't get into this for the love of it. But yeah.
I would say you probably got into this precisely for the love of it, Barty.
Wow. It is exciting.
Arno will be listening to all of this, and you'll notice that Arno looks differently to before. He's sort of in what he's wearing, so he now has sort of changed in what he looks like on what he's wearing, and he's now wearing sort of the colors that remind you of Galandra. Obviously not full plate armor or anything like that, but any kind of cloak or any little splatters of color that she had, you can see sort of subtle elements of that on his person. And he'll listen to Lance and Barty, and then he'll just say, I have spent some time thinking, and I have a plan, albeit temporary, for this bowl. It requires a sacrifice from me, and looks quickly at Lance. He says, not like that. Hear me out. And he invites them to go upstairs to his room. He says, "This must be away from prying eyes."
I turn to Val, and Val won't look at me in the eyes. I tell him we'll be back shortly.
So Arno leads up into his room. That I don't know if Val comes or not, but
Nah, he'll just sort of.
let's just say it's
yeah.
the three of us. And
Val's
he,
pretty stuck in his own head.
so Arno will be in the room, sort of silent, and he says, "When Kivu returned from the darkness, I felt more power bestowed upon me. I believe, if you trust me, that I may be able to do something. When you feel my power call, go with it. Do I have your trust?" And he looks at Lance and Barty.
Quite the risk. I mean, didn't end well for Kivy.
I look to the floor for a moment. What I think it is much that we're asked, and it is much you ask of us. I draw a hoot for his bane, and I'm sitting on the floor, and I lay it across my knees, my hand on the handle. I said, "Whatever risk you're taking, I need you to understand. If there is a chance that you are compromised, then this blade will need to abbreviate the problem."
I know the risk, and I believe that overall this risk will be the most minimal to all of us. And you see him sort of reach into his side pocket and start sort of holding something in his hand. And he says, "Are you willing?"
Are you going to stash it in your ring, so to speak?
"Are you willing, Barty?"
I mean, honestly, in two minds.
I do not
One
ask
moment.
much.
Every time you go to sleep, Barty, that thing will try and crawl inside your skull.
No. Every time we go to sleep, I don't think you're paying attention. We need to share the load. Putting it in the ring near Kibby, whatever, that is surely asking for a repeat of what happened before.
Listen, just open yourself to me now. And Arno takes a chance, and you feel this sort of warm, sort of magical pull. Both Lance and Barty will feel a kind of a soft magical pull towards Arno, and you can either be willing to let it in or not. So I need to know what you both do.
Except the pull, but I do not let go of Hookways Bane.
Can you hold it for 2 minutes? Just 2. Well, I've got this. We've got this. Oh no, I went to sleep, didn't I? Yes, fine.
All right. So as you sort of succumb to Arno's power, you sort of transitioned, things blur, and then you sort of reappear, stood with Arno, in quite a strange place, and it's you can see it's quite cozy. There's sort of cushions and a table and a desk and a little sort of day bed and stuff, but there's nothing really. Yeah, there's a shisha pipe. There's nothing else around, and Arno just looks around and looks at you and he said, so it worked. And as you kind of look confused, he says, "This is my vessel. No one has entered here but me. I did not know I had this power until now. And you look around, and it's not that big, but it's cozy enough. It says, "We are safe here." Now,
Marty.
on the matter of this bowl, my thoughts are that we leave it here, and my sacrifice is that I do not re-enter my vessel until we all come together to retrieve the bowl.
Sounds like a plan. Can Kivy come back? Is she excluded from this area, or however your relationship works?
Kivy, I'll say, so she,
She's not always there, and she doesn't. She's never present in physical form in this vessel. But Arno'll say, I commune with her here, but I have never seen her physical presence in this vessel.
I just want to understand the risks. Like, I know we're allaying ourselves of temptation, and it's commendable. It's a strong effort. I just don't want to remove it from us and chuck it right back into her lap. Fool me once, shame on me.
This place is protected from her physical presence.
And you contact her at the moment.
roll me a religion check if you want to, I guess.
Me?
Yeah, roll me a religion, I guess.
I said I can try, but
yeah.
She does not always answer.
I think we need to make sure she is at the very least aware. Because I think she will be quite sensitive to this, given her experience, my friend.
She's not, because she is a patron. I'm just trying to think, because it's going to be the same as trying to converse with the gods in a certain way, isn't it? So I guess this is the best way for you, if you on demand, if you want to try and talk to her.
Maybe
she doesn't answer right now.
So you don't hear anything from her.
Maybe we should drop in more regularly, rather than just when we think we need it. Maybe we come back on a semi-regular occurrence just to make sure.
Very well.
I trust you, Arno. I am trusting you now. I'm sorry, but I cannot put myself in a position to trust her at this moment. She's shown herself to be a vulnerability. Not for her own fault.
Of this, I sadly agree. I believe this place is somewhat safe from her presence. But I vow this to you, that I will not enter here without the rest of you.
And we will need to check regularly to ensure it is not affecting this place or her. And we must be vigilant, lest it find a way to try and reach out to us in any way.
It's settled.
Okay.
Yes. Could you afford me a few moments to get a rubbing of this bowl, so that I can take the runes into the library? Now, I see what you were getting at yesterday, Arno. I'm sorry I cut you off. I thought you could just comprehend it as simply as a poem.
We all have our blind spots. I think we were very much becoming aware of that.
Take the time you need. We can stay here for quite some time.
It shouldn't take too long. I did have time to study it yesterday. I just need to...
Alright, so we
spend
sort of 15-20 minutes or whatever, and then we place the bowl on that sort of table where the Barty will put it down, and Arno will be like, no, not there, because he put it exactly in the space where the bowl that caught Arno last time was, so somewhere else, wrapped up in the corner.
Don't look in that drawer.
It's not mine. It's not what you think it is. What I was going to say, as you do this, No, because that might complicate things too much. I was going to send Tharval off doing stuff. I'm not sure.
Oh, it's fine if he's off for a few sessions. You can just we can
Terrible
find a
thing,
note
terrible
left
things.
from him.
Yeah, so he's sort of, you do find a note saying that he needs to take some time, and him and his brother are going to take a trip to an undisclosed location, and we'll be back shortly.
Okay.
Fair enough.
And then what of this? If we deem this to be a safe enough temporary arrangement, then perhaps we should try and pursue Red Scale.
I think we should definitely at least spend a day here while Barty tries to learn some more. If only to make sure that we have at least taken some precautions.
We need a place to start our investigation. So it may as well be now. We need to know what locations the Dreamwalkers worshipped at, or maybe of significance, and if there is any written history of this object from the ancient times. If we can answer one of those questions, we're onto something.
Okay.
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 Because we're guessing at the moment, we need to try and solidify that a little bit.
Well, hence research.
Exactly.
Okay, so what I'll do is I don't have sort of names and places fully at this moment in time. So what I can do is we can do some rolling for research, and then I can, in the next session, have it all sort of rolled
Oh
up.
yeah, I wasn't expecting any answers immediately.
Yeah, we can. Well,
You're
we
like
can,
happy to do it as a downtime between sessions.
we can leave it there. Like when we're ready and sort of decided, I will just sort of affirm to everybody, shall we return? And then you feel the same sort of sensation, and you'd be back in Arno's room.
Okay.
And that's
Yeah.
how
Okay.
we
No.
start.
Because I could sort of tie in, because we're gonna have Jason,
We've got
Vic.
an intro next time anyway.
Yeah. So we can sort of kind of tie them into sort of this next.
Once again, meeting weird people at the tavern.
Yes, more weird people disappearing, and Taunt. It's the place to
As-
be.
Yeah.
As we leave Arno's room, and sort of Arno will sort of let sort of Barty lead, and then he'll hold a hand out to touch Lance's knee, and just say, "We are back in Taunt. This is the last we heard of the whereabouts of Thomas. Is it worth at least asking around if anyone has seen what has become of him?"
Thomas will be found if Thomas wishes to be found. I think. At the end of the day, we have to be careful how widely we wander, and we have to accept that sometimes we don't all have to have the same path to follow.
He will want to know about Galandra.
I have a feeling he will find out in his own way. I don't think that the Empress is going to be particularly quiet in her mourning. And he knows how to find out if he wishes.
Arno nods and heads downstairs.
Ooh, sorry.
It's alright, it's just a little joke anyway, but like as you're like coming down the stairs, Barty's just sort of like excitedly whispering to Lance and Arno. It's like, You are aware that we have just created a magical order. We've got an undisclosed location hiding a magical object. We need signet rings and we need a cool name. Let's not rush it. They'll be building temples for us. In 100 years' time.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Oh,
We should stop there.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, that's the sort of the creation of the newest magical order is I think a good stopping point for tonight. You can all have an inspiration point for some superb RPing.
It was really good.
Yeah,
it
it's
really
was. It was
good.
a lot of fun that session.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you can
I
all.
might have broken a massive
You,
bit.
you
Sorry
said
about
this session would be cozy, man.
Well, it's
It
cozy,
was.
and there's only a couple of
It
us.
was-
We're all,
And
It
I-
was
we're all
heavy
stuck
as
inside your ring. It
anything.
doesn't
Like,
get much cozier.
I
It
can't
was.
control myself. I think it's when I put on sad music and I start talking that stuff and I just make myself emotional. But
It was
yeah.
more emotional than when she actually died. Like it was dealing with the aftermath, like in full RP.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, heavy as anything.
But yeah, congrats guys. That was some really good stuff. All yous. You did really well. Yeah, brilliant. So yeah, give yourselves an inspiration point. So
Thank you, sir.
next week we will have some new faces for you, hopefully, and I think Tharvel should return in a couple of weeks. So we will have a full party ready to rock and roll and deal with the corruption going forward. Are you all leveled up, by the way? You're all level 13 now, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, so if you're not leveled
Yeah.
up, you can be leveled up.
We'll do that.
It was the only way I could bring you all into my vessel. I've been waiting for.
Oh,
for-
really?
yeah.
It was really. I thought it was a very professional touch when you went and then you leave Arno's room, and I was like, mate, any opportunity to be saying that you're sneaking in my ring. It was very mature.
Oh man, I didn't know what you were doing with that. To be honest, I had an inkling,
know,
and
I
I was
know.
just like, "Oh, please don't go off too much off reservation." So I kind of let it go. I was like, "Please don't go too fucking AWOL with this and shit." But I was like, "All right, okay, that's good."
I imagine us coming into the ring and it being like half broken and burning wastelands. Roaring.
Yeah.
Cool.
You see the real Arno. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very good.
Totally. I
right.
was feeling that day.
Well, nice. And I think Danny might have been watching that. So, Danny, there you go. You had sort of your second emotional moment, and your goodbye. That's it. You're done now. No more crying over the Galandra anymore. You're done until you return, hopefully, to defeat.
Or in the Galandra
At the very end, when I bring everybody back for the final battle. Okay, so cheers everybody, much appreciated. For tonight, I've been Matt Geary. With me has been Conrad as Arno Jerkel,
Farewell.
Lecky as Bartholomew Pringle,
Sweet dreams. Don't let the bowl corrupt you.
and Marcus Lance.
Has anyone got about half a kilo of paracetamol?
Night everybody, bye.